What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we are back with episode number 2 of season 3 of F1 2019 career mode. We have a rear downforce upgrade going in the car for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and many more upgrades in the pipeline, ready for the Chinese Grand Prix. And I'd imagine that we'd be in a position to do even more by the episode's end, which is quite crazy when you think about it. A small boost for us, which should hopefully see us a bit closer to the top teams, but I don't think it'll make too much of a difference here at Bahrain, unfortunately.
Practice is just about to get underway here at the Bahrain International Circuit. This track boasts plenty of opportunities for overtakes, so it's up to the drivers to make use of the time to get comfortable with the track conditions. That's if they want to capitalize on those opportunities later.
So here we are for practice. Probably worth mentioning, if you haven't seen the last episode, I probably recommend you go check it out. It was just kind of establishing the foundations of this season and where we hope to be, and just kind of covering the driver changes because there were a lot of them. But if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, leave a like, all that good stuff, and let's get into the race weekend at hand. So practice 1, you know, we never really show our pace in that session. We always do like tire wear program and also the track acclimatization and then fuel consumption program. Really, the programs where you're kind of holding back in order to pass the program, and then you got the ERS one, and then race strategy, and then qualifying pace. That's what I do in practice 2 when the track is a bit more rubbered up, and that seems to be you know, the routine that I tend to stick by, and it works out pretty well for me most of the time. So I think we got P5, or at least the top 5 there in practice 2, so that's a bit better pace. But heading into Bahrain, this is always one where you'll always struggle to beat the AI. However, in saying that, I won Bahrain last season, so let's hope for some of that form, although I'm not really expecting it.
Bahrain qualifying is nearly upon us, and the drivers look as if they're all geared up to go. I expect we'll be getting underway very shortly.
So, it is qualifying time, and this Ferrari isn't the greatest when it comes to straight line speed prowess. We do have a really good chassis, which is certainly going to help us in the low speed corners. We negotiate qualifying 1. Literally, I did 1 lap. It was almost like a lap of confidence, because I know that this package is a lot better than the bottom 3 teams, and we're able to clear those guys quite easily. It was actually a really bad lap, to be honest, and it was able to get us through to the next session. We'll take you to a little bit more seriously. We're going to probably throw 2 sets of tyres at this. We only have 2 brand new sets left, so let's do that. We've set a 125.5, which you know, establishes us inside the top 10 for the moment, but with track evolution, I would imagine that may get us closer towards the danger zone. We actually did 2 laps there on 1 set of tyres, which is somewhat unheard of in F1 2019. Most of the time, the tyres are only good for 1 lap, but I don't know, we're able to get an extra lap out of it, because again, that first lap wasn't the greatest, and I felt like I could have done a little bit better, but this is the end of Q2 now. There's a bit of traffic to negotiate. Unfortunately, when I hit go to track, the team didn't really put me out in a good amount of track space. However, I decided to pursue it. I decided to chase Verstappen on this lap to see if I could get a slipstream, and hopefully that would help us somewhat further in getting a better time. But it's been a bit of a disruptive lap with Sebastian Vettel backing out of it and getting in the way. Verstappen, I feel like, hasn't been putting in the greatest of sectors, and so it's been a bit messy, but it looks like we're only just marginally going to improve on our previous best time, which we set, which is actually crucial, because the time that we set previously was done on tyres that did 2 laps worth of running. So we've lowered the tyre life of the tyres starting the race that we're going to use. But Q3, we went again, and we literally did the exact same time that we did in Q2, which is actually a bit disappointing. So it was P10 in the end of Q3. So yeah, could have been better, to be honest, but at least we're there with our teammates. I feel like our race pace maybe a little bit better than what it might be potentially in qualifying. Once we, you know, get in the slipstream of other cars, we can utilize strategy. There's a whole lot of other elements we can use at our disposal in order to climb our way up the grid, but it will be a tough old slog. There's a lot of fast cars in Season 3, and Ferrari just seems to be lacking in a couple of areas like downforce and engine power. I have compensated by running lower downforce, like 4 or 5 wings. So let's see if we can make something happen on the straights. But anyway, it's time for not qualifying. It's time for the race for the Bahrain Grand Prix. Hopefully we get some points.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sakhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. And I'm joined once again by Anthony Davidson to bring you the lowdown for today's race. Let's talk about Day. That was a solid result in their last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
And yes, our momentum may not be that high at the moment, but we did showcase some good pace in practice. I still feel like to this day that we didn't get the most out of qualifying. Could have got more out of my Q2 lap and Q3. I don't know. I think I just made a mistake here or there, and that was the result. So heading into this race, I feel like we definitely can move forward. Those Red Bulls are certainly a target. We qualified ahead of the Renaults and the Mercedes, which at this point in the career mode is probably all I could probably ask for. We're going to hope to get best of the rest if we can. But against, formidable opponents here at Bahrain, it's going to be mighty tough to do. You can see the front runners all lining up towards the pointy end of the grid. It's going to be Haas versus Williams versus Alfa Romeo. Who's going to come out on top in this championship? There is still a lot at play. 5 red lights for this Bahrain Grand Prix, and we are underway. I think I missed the start ever so slightly. And as such, we've been jumped by our former teammate Daniel Ricciardo. We've got Gasly steaming up the inside into turn 1. He gains like 3 or 4 positions there. It's not a bad start from the Frenchman. And he's established well inside the top 10 now with a P7 against his name at the moment and on medium tires. So the Renaults are going to be quite threatening in this Grand Prix. And with their straight line speed prowess, it's going to be mighty tough to keep them behind. So the goal, I guess, is to put cars between us and the Renaults. Hopefully utilize the soft compound tires while we can before they start to die off, and then those Renaults will come on really strong towards the end of the race. They might even opt for a 1-stop in this Grand Prix. We're opting for a 2-stop. It may be faster to do a 1-stop, but given that we didn't get the strategy offered to us, it might be slower given that we're starting on the softs. But we're fighting away quite hard with Devon Butler here on the run into the middle sector. We clear him around the outside, but Devon gives us the big squeeze, much like he has in F2, and we see ourselves drop behind Daniel Ricciardo. In P12, a big dive bomb on Ricciardo. That was out of pure frustration in order to get the position back. I don't really feel like that's helped us all too much because that was a horrible exit. Okay, no radio message. That was just me pretending to complain about Butler after that move. So yeah, not happy with that conduct. Hopefully the team send that one to the stewards, and maybe we get the place back, or he can get like a 5-second stop-go penalty. But that was, a bit out of order from the AI. You don't really see that all too often, but we'll see if we can get some revenge on track and come back at him. I feel like, even though the Red Bulls are better than us on paper, I feel like in the race, we seem to be better over the longer runs. Like, we might be easier on our tyres, for example. So I'm hoping that we can get the edge on them in that department. Kimi is fighting away with Pierre Gasly and is ahead of both of the Red Bulls. So he is having a fantastic race so far. I think Gasly and Raikkonen are kind of slipstreaming each other on the back straight and the start-finish straight, and kind of pulling away from me at the moment while I'm having to, fend off Daniel Ricciardo behind. But I feel like I've got into a little bit more of a rhythm now, and I'm starting to make some inroads on this little group here, who are now starting to fight each other in the corners, which is not the most optimal area of the track to battle, but hey-ho, they're finding it very important to get some track position at this stage. It might be a losing battle for Raikkonen, to be honest, because Pierre is only going to get stronger as this stint goes on, but he's Kimi, he knows what he's doing. Anyway, lap 5, you can see Gasly fighting away with Verstappen now, who is looking to put a move on. I get past Devon Butler up the inside there. That was a really sneaky move as he kind of left the door open. I got an amazing exit out of turn 1. This kind of came out of nowhere, so I was wondering if Devon was holding back here. He was pinched in behind Pierre, and then he opened the door to turn in for the corner, and then we just snuck up his inside and shortchanged him there for P10. Really like that move. I don't think I've done a move like that at all, if ever. I'm not too sure. That was, yeah, a different one. A very unorthodox move, but one that we might employ for the rest of the race if the AI are going to leave the door open like that, in that fashion. Lap 6, you can see Gasly is struggling at this stage of the Grand Prix when you feel like he'd probably be getting stronger. He's been overtaken by Raikkonen. Now Verstappen is getting in on the party. I'm trying to make it 3 wide. Couldn't get on the power efficiently enough. I probably mashed down the throttle pedal a little bit too fast, and the rear tyres didn't like that. But side by side with Verstappen, we're going to hold it around the outside, get the better exit, and that is us up into P8, I think. I need to check. But next up is Pierre. You can see a big boy lock up for us, but thankfully it doesn't lose us the position. And now we're going to see if we can expose Pierre Gasly here, who doesn't have DRS, he doesn't have slipstream on the car ahead, so we'll be able to hopefully make quick work of him. Running low downforce, like I said, so this is our only counter-attacking move we have against the likes of the Renaults, and it works pretty efficiently there. Up into P8 now. Engine is overheating, so we'll need to cool that out, but here comes Verstappen back up the inside. I was looking at the engine temps to make sure that everything was fine. I turned down the engine to lean, and as such, I missed my braking zone. So Verstappen got a big run on us, but thankfully we were able to fend him off. But all the squabbling is allowing Raikkonen to get away. So I'm hoping I can make some inroads and get towards him by the pit window, and maybe from there see if we can get the ascendancy on our teammate. If you remember back to last episode, Raikkonen was not too friendly with us, and I'd imagine that trend may continue into this race as well, so we'll need to treat him with a bit of caution. But here comes Verstappen again. Around the outside, through the high-speed right-hander, I run out a little bit wide, and that kind of spooks Verstappen into leaving more space and the position, and it's P8 once again. But it's pit stop time. Onto the mediums for best part of 10, 11 laps, and then we'll dive it in again for another set of mediums. Pit stop was pretty good. We jumped Verstappen, which wasn't too hard to be honest, considering we came in ahead of him in the pit lane. But start finish straight. You can see the bottom 3 teams all finding a way with each other in this Grand Prix. It's quite interesting to see how there's like these little groups forming around the racetrack, and specifically just teammate battles that are emerging up and down the field. We've now got one for Ferrari here. But yeah, this is the kind of track that promotes trains, I suppose, with the slipstream being very potent, with DRS zones everywhere. It makes it very hard to break away from the cars behind, and as such you will see a lot of cars following each other. But anyway, lap 9, we've got the undercut on Raikkonen. He's got fresher tyres, but they're not quite up to temperature, and Raikkonen feels quite threatened at the moment, so he's putting on the big defensive moves in an effort to shake me off his tail. But we might go up the inside. No, we won't. No, we won't. We tried that on Ricciardo earlier on in the race, and that didn't really work out too well for us, but we're playing it a bit smarter now that we're settled into this race. Raikkonen goes defensive into the last corner. Can we get a better exit? Oh, he squeezes us. But to be fair, he was mounting the curb, so it is quite easy to get pushed over into our line. But there we go. We are through and into P17. But on track, I think this is effective P7. Maybe even P6 as Verstappen gets past my teammate as well. So Raikkonen will be absolutely raging. I've locked up and missed the corner again with Verstappen on my tail, so he'll be licking his lips. He's got DRS. We might have to go defensive here. No, he's already alongside. I can't really defend. Max goes up the inside, and again, running side by side with the Dutchman in this section of the track. He's got the better track position heading into the right-hander. God damn it. Max is through, and we drop down to, I think, effective P8. It's really hard to keep an eye on what's going on at the moment. We have, undercutted our teammate. However, the Renaults are doing the one-stop, and yeah, it's hard to tell exactly where we stand in this race. The Mercedes are also one-stopping, I think, if they started on the mediums. Here we go, slipstream on Verstappen once again, and we are back through. Next up are the Toro Rosso, so it was important to be the first guy on the scenes to overtake the back markers, because sometimes the AI can take a little bit of time to negotiate those guys, and if we could clear Albon here, it might make life easier for us as Albon moves in the braking zone. Bloody hell, this guy's have no chill today. It's absolutely ridiculous. Albon just putting on the big defense against the Ferrari on fresher tyres. What were you thinking? Probably some instruction from Christian Horner passed down from Red Bull, possibly. Here's the angle you want to see. Watch Albon in the braking zone. He moves over at the last second, and that could have been an aeroplane crash if we weren't a little bit more careful. We are through for P14, and Max is struggling to get past his Toro Rosso teammate. Half teammate, I suppose. Kvyat's up next. We might go for the dive on him. Makes more sense to lunge a back marker car, and we are up into P13. Now P12 as someone else made their stop. Probably one of the Mercedes, I think? I'm not sure. But now we're trying to make inroads on the next group of cars. McLaren still haven't dived it in yet for their stop. Verstappen still putting the pressure on, as always, being a thorn in my side. We've got one of the Renaults now diving it in for their one and only stop of the race. Sainz is in, and this gives us a free run at Lando Norris. And once we clear this guy, that'll be the last of the back markers we have to deal with in this race, potentially. He moves over in the braking zone. We're going to see if we can hold back and get a better exit out of turn 1, just like we did to Devon Butler. And by doing that, we haven't lost any time at all by doing that. Whereas if we would have dive bombed there, it would have compromised our exit and made us a bit more vulnerable to Max Verstappen. We played it smart, and we lost less time, so there's that.
Hamilton is ahead of you. Our gap to the car in front is 11.4 seconds. They're on old softs. Their tyres are 5 laps old. We think they've got one more stop. The time last lap was a 1:28.7. You're losing around 3/10 a lap.
Bloody hell. FOM can never get the graphics right, and it continues in the game, so thank you very much for that. But a bit of a sit rep in this race. Just sitting back and kind of analysing it now with 12 laps to go. We're in a big battle now with Verstappen and also the 2 Renaults in order to get best of the rest in this Grand Prix. To be honest, I feel like maybe the one stop is a little bit better. These medium tyres are holding out quite well, and at the time of me, racing, I was thinking maybe I should have stopped a bit later on my softs and then stretched the mediums to the end. I could probably still stretch these mediums to the end, but I don't know if I'll have the same pace. If I would have, been able to make it to the end safely, I might have, ended back in the same spot that I'm in at the moment. So I'm going to stick with a 2-stop and maybe hope that I can get fastest lap or something. I could even go to the softs, but we shall see. We're now getting overtaken by the Haas's, the Alfa Romeos. We've now got Sergio Perez in our slipstream. So at this stage, it's just a case of trying to go as fast as I can, run my own race, and not hold up the cars around me by engaging in a battle, just trying to run my own race. And if I can, try and pick up slipstream, try and pick up DRS where I can. Kimi came in on the last lap and managed to get the undercut, so we'll probably have to respond pretty quickly. But yeah, the engineer actually told me to delay my pit stop from lap 18 to lap 20. So I was kind of wondering about the logic behind that, but I was meant to pit in and put the softs on, but I got a bit distracted, and here we are on the mediums, which are easily going to make it to the end of this race. They might not even get above like 20% tyre wear, which is really silly. So the one stop, I feel like even on the 2 softer compounds, could have worked to the end of the Grand Prix. A bit of mismanagement from Ferrari, but also myself in order, just me not making the tyre choice. We could have easily guaranteed, I don't know, easily guaranteed, but we could have had a really good chance of getting the fast lap of the Grand Prix if we put it on for the softs. But we're going to push as hard as we can on the mediums now and then see what we can do with this tyre. We are purple to the first sector, which is interesting. No one has gone and set a blistering time as of yet. So maybe we are half a chance to get fast lap, but we're trying to chase down Daniel Ricciardo. He's a few seconds up the road on old, hard compound tyres. We go through to the middle sector, still 1.1 seconds up on our previous best fastest lap. We come across the line, and we do get...
Just a reminder, we are critical on fuel, probably a lap or so short. We don't need to risk a DNF chasing records, so think about going down to mix 1 and lifting early into the corners. Okay, copy that.
Thanks, Jeff. I love your enthusiasm, your words of encouragement, as always. Fuel is not an issue today. We underfueled because We discovered in the last episode that this Ferrari is quite good at looking after the fuel consumption. And tyre wear has not really been an issue either. And as well, the battery, I've been running in high deployment mode, like literally all race. Sometimes dipping into medium and low just to recharge the battery. But it charges up so quickly. There's so many braking zones. And with the ERS upgrades that this car has, it means that we've been, driving almost flat out nearly all race. It's been quite crazy. Now we've caught up to Ricciardo. He goes slightly defensive into turn 1. We're going to see if we can get the better exit again out of turn 1. And we managed to do so. This was actually meant to be a fastest lap attempt on this lap. But Ricciardo did get in our way a little bit at turn 1, slowed us up. So unfortunately, the attempt at fastest lap was in vain. Sergio Perez is out of the race again. The DNF'd in Australia, and now he's DNFing here in Bahrain. He'll be absolutely furious to have such a good car under him this season, and now he's got no points against his name in the championship. He'll be absolutely raging. It's the last lap of the Grand Prix. Looks like it's going to be P7 for us. The one-stopper of Pierre Gasly. His pace and consistency has been too strong for us. Vettel wins the Grand Prix. So he's 2 from 2, 50 points against his name. I think he might have even got fastest up as well. I'm not too sure on that. But it was taken away from us at the closing stages of the race. A P7, not a bad comeback. I'll take the points.
Can't complain about that one. That was an excellent drive.
The quality and fantastic result of the Haas team will have been noticed by everyone else out there today. You can see why everyone's taking them so seriously. These drivers will be hot property by the end of the season.
I think Hulkenberg will just be happy that he's finished the race and has some points against his name, but he is now already starting to be a long way behind his teammate in the championship standings and on the back foot massively. Alfa Romeo fill out the podium once again, so again Williams are nowhere to be seen on the podium despite having the second best car in the field. Bit of a disappointing race there from Charles Leclerc, it must be said. 16 seconds off the lead. It seemed like the Alphas and the Haases were just kind of on another level. Apart from Lewis Hamilton. I didn't see Hamilton down there at P5. So, yeah, very interesting result. I still can't get used to Hamilton being at Alfa Romeo. That is absolutely ridiculous. But that is driver changes for you in F1 2019. We have 7 points against our name. We did really well in the end there to get the measure over our teammates, both the Red Bulls, and the pace at the end there was fantastic. We went for fastest lap towards the end. I didn't think the pace was there, considering we were on the medium tyre, pretty much the same tyre as everyone else. Might have been a lap or two fresher than everyone else, but, we shouldn't be that fast, surely.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. You must wish you'd have been up there on the podium alongside your old teammate today.
I suppose, but I know that with more work, we'll be up there eventually.
You had a close battle today, didn't you?
Yeah, it was pretty good to race Daniel. Bit of a different dynamic, but we'll see how it evolves.
Great. Well, that's everything.
I wanted to go for the banterous response there, but the drivers within the game have absolutely no banter. So we will leave it civil for at the moment. But that has been this episode for today, guys. The Bahrain Grand Prix. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more racing game content. I feel like we got the best out of the package today. Pretty much best of the rest. We did get bested and somewhat embarrassed by Pierre Gasly doing the one stop. Had no idea that the tyre deg was going to be that low. Normally Bahrain is quite high. Sometimes it is always a 2-stop here, but now with the tyre wear upgrades, it made the 1-stop possible, but I feel like the 1-stop was possible on the 2 softer compounds, but the strategy never accounted for that. So that's something we'll need to, just play around with the strategy at the start of the race. Yeah, if we ran longer on the softs at the start, we definitely could have made the medium stretch to the end. But you live and you learn. In terms of upgrades, we're going to do brakes. We can't really do anything else. We're kind of restricted in the aero department. We literally can't do any upgrades for the aero. So That's unfortunate. So we're doing 2 upgrades for brakes. I wanted to do a durability upgrade, but a durability is 40 points too expensive for us to work on. So we're going to do another brake upgrade and have 2 minor upgrades heading into the Chinese Grand Prix, on top of all the upgrades we planned at the start of the season with that 5k resource point boost from Ferrari not spending anything over the winter break. But anyway, so yeah, we're going to have, I don't know, half a dozen upgrades heading into China. It's going to be a B-spec car. It's going to be absolutely outrageous. We could shoot to the top of the table. We could shoot to, you know, being in contention with the top teams. That's my aim, hopefully. But already, even after 2 races, we're a long way from the championship lead. So we've got a lot of catching up to do. So we'll see how it all plays out. There's all the upgrades. The one ultimate upgrade for Spain, and the rest are all like major upgrades for China, plus the 2 minors. So there we go. Heading to China. This is going to be a very, very interesting affair. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next episode, the Chinese Grand Prix. I'll see you next time.